Hello there, fellow AP student and Miss Leblond. You are watching this because you are about to enter the wonderful world of AP Lang, the AP class that all your friends said don't take, and you ignored them because really, how hard could an English class be? Well, you're looking at somebody who took the class an entire year and who took the AP for said class. It's not anywhere remotely close to being an easy class, so shut up. Seems easy the first 2 weeks, but the first 2 weeks of junior year just lull you into this false sense of security. This is a guide for when things get real, because they will get real. Buckle your seatbelts, class of 2022, because this is your guide for AP Lang. Last year, literature-wise, it was very simple, much easier. Like, sure, maybe you didn't like To Kill a Mockingbird all that much, but you know what? You're gonna miss To Kill a Mockingbird when you read The Sun Also Rises. This is probably your summer assignment book. It was mine, at least. There's this whole unit on Ernest Hemingway, and the most important thing to remember with Hemingway is this man writes so much detail in, like, the tiniest places. The littlest thing can just unlock a whole different thing. It's like an iceberg. Like, at the top, very surface level is what, he writes. But when you think about it and go into the details of what it could mean under the surface, you just figure out what his point actually is. And it's called iceberg theory. You read all about it. But Hemingway's stuff, just think of an iceberg. You need to look underneath. It may be boring. It might suck. But that's just how you have to read Hemingway. After Hemingway, you're going to have F. Scott Fitzgerald. Now, Fitzgerald will not bore you to tears. Comes to Fitzy Boy, there's a lot of color symbolism, and in your notes while reading, you should just take note of color that's described. If color is mentioned, write it down. If mood is mentioned associated with color, write that down. Very important. Don't slack. Next big thing you'll be reading is Arthur Miller's Death of a Salesman, in which a 60-year-old man loses his mind and his job. It's a confusing read, but it's like an in-class one, so if you're ever confused, you can just ask your teacher. You're probably watching this if you have Miss Leblond, and you're also Miss Leblond if you're watching this. Hi, Miss Leblond. If you're confused, just ask questions. Because, I was confused, I didn't ask questions, and then I got an 80 on the test. It's also good to, note the emotional and mental states of all the characters as the story progresses, and just how intense and how frequent the hallucinations that Willy Loman experiences are in play. Anyways, just note how the characters act. Now, on to the saddest book you will probably ever read, Night. It is an account of the Holocaust by a Holocaust survivor, and it does not dance around any of the details that are described, in the book. So, don't read this one all in one night, because it's very emotional, and, you might just be thinking to yourself, oh, she's just an emotional person. I'm not an emotional person. I have no soul. So, if I can cry reading this, anyone can. I read it all in one night. I did it the day before it was due. I read it the night before it was due, all in one go. Want to know what that got me? At my kitchen table, at the end of the book, sobbing. Not a fun experience. Don't read Night all in one night. This next one was my personal favorite. It's Catcher in the Rye. It's a very relatable, book, and a lot of the issues discussed in the book are still applicable to teens, and the advice I have for this one, don't put it off till the last second, because I did that, and I spent all of first period, I have English second period, I spent all of my first period class the day it was due, finishing it, and I have Algebra 2 first period, so it's like I had to pay attention to Mr. Chancellor and take notes for Miss Leblond at the same time. It wasn't a very fun experience, and I would not do it again. It sucked major butt. This last work, this is more of a warning than anything, not a review. I'm not even going to say this one's name because it's just so awful. You're going to have 2 quizzes on this one, And I promise you, if you do not study for them and if you do not properly take notes on this terrible, evil, disgusting book, your average will just be sent into the shadow dimension. It's a grammar rule book. It's very useful for essay writing. I utilize most of the tips in here myself. But just pay attention. One last thing, Quizlet is your best friend. Download it, make an account, make flashcards. Very important. In conclusion, this is either going to be your least favorite class or your favorite class. Even if I didn't take my own advice, it was my favorite class. It's a very fun course, even if only 40 brave souls per year take it. It's a big step up from honors, but if you're taking it, you can probably handle it. And if you have Miss Leblond, you have a great teacher. Miss Leblond, thank you for an awesome year, and please give me 100. I put on a lot of shirts for this.